there's a million things Michael and I could talk about in terms of our Triumph history, but you may know that I got arrested a couple of years ago working for Stephen Colbert. Me and a bunch of people got arrested while we were doing a Triumph, but 18 years earlier, 2004, believe it or not, Columbia Pictures wanted to do a Triumph movie where I was covering the presidential election. They bailed on it, but before they bailed on it, we covered the Republican convention, and Michael Bloomberg was the mayor of New York. And he inherited the Giuliani self-consciousness about crime. Giuliani knocked down crime, and Bloomberg was determined to keep it that way, and also price poor people out of the city. But there was a huge march of the opposition, the Democrats.
It was Republican, maybe Democrats. Really, I was told anarchists. Well, but whatever they call it.
So we're making fun of people. You know, I'm talking to the craziest people, and Triumph's holding a microphone, and then he switches it to a dildo, and the person doesn't notice. Those are kind of jokes we were doing back then.
The war-winning record. What did he win? Which war?
The Yellow War, World War II. You know how long they last?
That's
10 years.
10 years.
10 years.
And this war we won.
4 years.
Which war are we talking about now? But George Bush won this war.
Let me tell you about this being a senator. He don't show up for a year now? Does he ever vote there? Riding around collecting money. They say you go from one place to another, you can get money. Does he ever vote? Yeah.
Yes.
He's fighting. He's getting a lot of money.
Yes. Keep talking.
Well, I think he's a wonderful man. He's voting against the other people.
You bet he is.
He's voting against the other people.
He's belting against the other people. And he flip-flopped on Iraq.
Kerry
he
don't go up.
flip-flopped on that issue.
Kerry don't go up to vote.
He don't go up to vote.
Is he working there? Is he on the wages now?
He's a lazy son of a gun.
Is he making money now?
He ain't making no money. Not a speck of money.
And we're having a great time. And then we walk from Madison Square Garden up 34th Street and then up Broadway.
Well, the plan, the reason that we were going there, and
because
that
there was going to be a protest outside Aladdin.
Well, specifically, yes,
because of
they
Disney.
Want delegates for the Republican convention.
Yes, Republican delegates were attending
Aladdin.
Yes, they were attending Aladdin. So we're like, this will be fun. Maybe we'll see some Republican delegates. So we get close to there. And as we're approaching, I think we saw like somebody being tased on like 50th Street. And there was all this scaffolding, which is a typical New York thing.
My memory, we were at like Broadway and 45th.
Something like that. Wherever Aladdin was playing. Yeah. Frank, you're a theater geek.
Yes. Yes, it was
the Helen Hayes. It was the Helen Hayes. They formerly known as the Brooks Atkinson. Yeah, it was
autumn of that year.
I remember I saw Annie
Frank
get
is
your gun.
Gilbert Gottfried. What'd you say?
I saw Annie get your gun there.
Annie get your gun. Mary Martin. I'll tell you. Tyne Daly was the best gypsy. Okay. Sorry. I go Tyne, Bet, Patty, and I'm sorry, Audra. Audra's fourth.
Okay. Good freewheeling. This is good freewheeling.
This is part of the freewheelery.
They'd been warned.
So yeah, you were.
So Mike got arrested. Here's what happened.
He got arrested?
Yeah. You've never told her this?
No, it's
No,
all
we had a wedding to plan.
What? I didn't know that. What are you talking about? That
I cover myself in corduroy jackets.
Wait, what happened?
Okay. So
they threw netting around us.
And then the police throw netting around our area.
What am I missing? Why were people being tased on the street?
Because they were protesting.
And new people were running around, and
Michael Bloomberg
the plan
did not
was
want
for,
to embarrass the city. He wanted to run a pristine convention.
I see.
So they way overdid it.
Yeah.
And in this case, we're just like Michael and I and Tom Giannis, another writer, very funny writer, and a bunch of like tourists. And we just
it was just people. There was a group. There was a little group of protesters that ran up Broadway and took a hard left, and then the netting went up. And then just a bunch of people were caught.
And then they put the netting up on one side.
What do you
and we
mean
thought,
the netting? Like the netting, like I can't. What is
netting?
netting?
So you couldn't step off the curb. Like I couldn't cross the street.
But then they put the netting on the other side of the scaffolding, so we were trapped.
Oh my gosh!
We were trapped, and we're just sitting there waiting, like what's going to happen, and then. One cop
and
comes
I'm holding Triumph in a Dwayne Reed bag.
In a Dwayne Reed bag, which is all he deserves. All he's ever deserved.
Right.
And we are covered with this netting, And I guess 1 or 2 cops come in finally after waiting at least 15 minutes.
But I'm saying that there's like 15 people at least.
I think there were more like 25, literally.
Yes.
It was really tight.
And and they started just picking people out.
Well, Tom and I were next to each other, and Tom had a camera. So he said, "I'm media," and he said, "And he's with me."
Okay, he tried to. Yeah.
And they let us go. And Michael was sort of like on the other side.
Yeah, I was all the way in the back.
Yeah.
Were you?
But I didn't have the presence of mind to say he's with us.
Dude, that what
Well,
presence
there's a
of
lot to
mind
think
or
about.
what? Yeah,
Wait,
I want
was
to
frazzled.
unpack that.
This
Yeah,
was-
did you remember
wanna
he
see
was there?
freewheeling?
Yeah, go
You
back
should
to
have
that
been there.
day.
Yes.
No,
No,
this
this
is
was
like-
like, it was an incredible. I mean, it's
So
one of those
Tom and
things
I
where
were
you
released.
understand what you really
And
are.
We watched from like the opposite corner to see if they were going to let Michael out.
Yeah. Oh
We
my
were like,
gosh.
oh, we got out, and oh shit, but Michael's there, and
And nobody tried to go back to get him or anything.
well, we weren't. We were afraid to go back.
Oh, okay.
It
Fear.
was scary.
Well, it
Right,
also it
fear.
didn't occur to me that they would want me.
Yeah,
I thought like,
figured-
well, they must know who they're looking for, and this will get sorted out.
Yeah, I
and
think we
eventually
all
the
kinda
net will
thought
come
that
up,
was
and I'll
gonna
go on my
happen.
way. So,
Yeah. So
I
Michael
just remember
gets
this one guy.
zip-tied.
He
gets
kind of
zip-tied.
like you're picking out a puppy, or like he like took his pick and he pointed at me and said, "You." And
Michael, I
Yeah.
never knew. Does your mom know this?
I don't think so. I
What?
mean,
What
this
is
is not
wrong
a
with
proud
you?
story. I mean, what am I going to tell you?
What do you mean it's not a
Because
proud
it is a proud story. You
Well,
were
it's an amazing
protesting
story.
like free.
Well, no,
I don't know
wish,
what
of
you were
course,
doing.
and you know, when
told
these
my mother
experiences
about
happen,
Michael.
Of course you did. And
I always think, you know, you fantasize in retrospect that you're going to speak up for yourself and tell them
Oh,
that you're
no,
a
I
human
disagree.
being. I just kind of was like, okay, here I go, and I walked up. And the guy took me, and I probably said something like,
You looked
I'm not
very
here
distressed.
to, yeah." But I
was
thought
horrible.
He was.
it's like
I
24
remember
hours.
that I think you wet yourself.
No,
that
did.
sounds right.
That's
that
a
tracks.
rumor
he
that got
shot
started.
himself.
That
He
you
shot
started.
himself.
It
Yeah.
looked like wet, but it
But
was
I saw
mostly
people doing this.
yeah, people
That
were,
was before any of this happened, Frank. But the police officer who chose me zip-tied my hands behind my back, and I still had
What was Triumph? I was just going to say the
Yes.
Dwayne Reed bag. What was?
I know. I was
I
trying
was
to
much more
explain.
worried
like,
about Triumph,
No
I have
kidding.
to admit.
Of course, I was more concerned with
Looking
Triumph.
on
I
with
was like
concern.
telling him like I have a celebrity puppet in a Dwayne Reed bag. I don't
Please.
let anything happen. And he was like, "You can keep your bag." And he marches me up to a line of buses, and they were just ready to take whatever number of people fit on these buses.
Wow.
And they
down
did-
to some central processing unit in Battery Park, probably. I kept trying to
But
talk
anyway.
my way out of it, like
Yeah.
like very politely, being so mild that
Right.
he'll just say, like, and he just stopped listening to me at a
Yeah.
certain point. It just
Yeah,
didn't
yeah.
matter to him. And then Frank Smiley, hero,
Right,
went
our
to
producer.
my office on 55th Street, and I think you found my ID. And you ran back down and you showed like the
That
person who was in
redeems
charge
There
that
were-
I was with the media.
There was not one New York City cop who wanted to save you, who wanted to let you go.
Right.
They were all like, "Forget it, he's going." And then one female police
Yes.
officer
There you go.
had a heart.
Yeah.
But
Why
you
am I
know,
not
to be
surprised?
honest, when you look at Michael Koman, he's very entitled.
Uh-huh.
No,
was
I look
wearing
like
an ascot.
everything
He
this
sort of
guy would
walks
ever
with
want
his,
to arrest.
his nose
Yes,
is up in the. It's like up in the air, like he's trying to look for something on a high tree.
He's a hard. I mean, you look at him and you want to throw him in the hoosegow.
You
Of
want
course, I look like a little
From San Diego, from La Jolla.
from the beaches, the white beaches of
it's
La
so
this
Jolla.
little
obvious.
piece of gentrification.
Just reeks of
even
entitlement.
The manhole cover I was standing on while I was
Yeah,
zip
no, you
tied
wanna
was
throw him.
going up in value. Well, I think I look like a pampered little troublemaker who was there to squirt something at an Aladdin delegate, and and I was getting what I deserved.
What you're
Yeah, but you had a really good instinct to talk to that woman because she listened to you and told the guy to untie me, and he cut the zip tie, and he was really angry about it.
Yes.
And he said, "What about my collar?" So they had like a quota, and I think he was like he got paid less or something because they had to let me go.
Jesus.
And then
Wow.
and you asked her what would have happened to me, and she said, "Well, he probably would have been out in like 48 hours."
Oh my gosh,
Yeah,
Michael.
people were detained for longer than that. But Frank got him out, and then the reunion was very emotional. I'm talking about between me and Triumph.
And the Dwayne Reed bag, you do.
Easy, easy.
yeah.
Well, Robert always walked around.
I wonder
his
if
things in a
you
plastic
did
bag.
get locked up on by the pier, would you have survived that?
This is what I've said this before, but this is what I truly believe would have happened. I would have been sitting in the back of this van. A real protester would have started screaming and kicking at the little metal grate in front of the driver and started banging his head against it because his hands were tied against his back. His hepatitis blood would have started squirting on my face.
Yeah.
So
and
you wouldn't
would have
be here.
No.
I would have started writhing around and screaming and just totally disassociated.
You were never
when I
taken to
came out, I would have been in like a catatonic.
Denied you the AIDS cocktail.
Of course they would. And which they used to carry on their belts.
Wait,
for
did you?
people
So
who
you
deserved it.
never.
Only for Republicans with AIDS.
It really was dramatic. I mean, they were about to walk me onto the bus when Frank got this person to release me. Once he got
was
it
next in line. He was the next one to go in the wagon.
Yeah.
Yikes. Well, thank you.
Yeah, well, I'm not so sure.
Let's see how the podcast goes.
Yeah. Well,
Before
thank
we
you.
see how grateful we are to Frank.